Welcome everyone. Imagine standing at a crossroads where every step you take shapes the foundation of your life. One path is easy, tempting, paved with shortcuts and compromises. The other path is narrow, steep, and often lonely. But that second path, that challenging road, is the one that aligns with truth, responsibility, and meaning. And I'm here to tell you there's no greater task, no more essential pursuit than to walk it. Now ask yourself, how often have you avoided what you know is right because it felt inconvenient, uncomfortable, or risky? That hesitation, the decision to turn away, comes with a cost. Not just to your external world, but to the very core of your being. The truth is, the battle for the right side begins within you. It's not a concept reserved for laws or politics or philosophical debates. It's an intimate, personal struggle. And if you're willing to confront that struggle, if you're willing to face the truth of who you are and who you could become, then you will not just survive this life, you'll transform it. The question of what it means to be on the right side is far from simple. It's one of the most profound and enduring challenges of human existence. On the surface, it may appear straightforward, even self-evident, but the deeper you probe, the more complex it becomes. Is the right side defined by cultural norms, by personal beliefs, by some universal standard of morality? These questions have haunted thinkers, philosophers, and ordinary individuals alike for centuries. And the unsettling reality is this: the right side is not always immediately obvious, and recognizing often demands intellectual rigor, emotional honesty, and moral courage. What makes this concept so elusive is its inherent ambiguity. The right side isn't a fixed point on a map. It's not written in bold letters in the sky. It shifts and evolves depending on context, perspective, and circumstance. What feels right in one moment may prove to be flawed upon reflection. What society deems right today might be condemned tomorrow. And yet there's an undeniable sense, instinctual awareness that tells us when we are aligned with something meaningful and truthful. But here's the challenge: instincts can be clouded by self-interest, fear, or social pressure. So how do we discern the right side from all the noise? One of the most dangerous traps in this pursuit is self-deception. We are masters at convincing ourselves that we are in the right, even when we're not. It's easier, after all, to justify our choices than to confront the possibility that we've gone astray. The mind can rationalize almost anything if it eases discomfort or spares us the burden of change. But this is precisely where the danger lies, because self-deception doesn't just obscure the right side, it leads us further from it. And the deeper we sink into our illusions, the harder it becomes to claw our way back to clarity. The right side, however, is not a matter of mere opinion or convenience. It is at its core a commitment to truth, unvarnished, uncomfortable truth. Truth demands that we rise above the immediate gratification of being right and instead strive to be honest, to be thoughtful, to be aligned with something greater than ourselves. This alignment is not only moral, it's practical. When you find the right side, you find a sense of order in the chaos. You find a compass that helps you navigate the uncertainties of life with purpose and resilience. But let's not mistake this for simplicity. The right side isn't easy to find, but it's even harder to stay there. It calls for a constant process of self-examination, a willingness to question your motives and to adjust your course when you discover you're wrong. It requires humility, the humility to admit you don't always know, and the courage to seek out answers anyway. And that's why the right side matters, because in seeking it, you elevate yourself. You grow into a person capable of handling the complexities of life, not with arrogance, but with integrity. And in doing so, you inspire others to embark on the same challenging, transformative journey. Self-deception is one of humanity's most insidious traits. We are remarkably skilled at rationalizing our actions, twisting reality just enough to make ourselves appear righteous in our own eyes. This ability, while psychologically comforting, is dangerous. It allows us to avoid confronting the difficult truths about who we are and the choices we've made. But here's the paradox: the more we deceive ourselves, the further we drift from the very alignment we seek. You cannot claim to be on the right side while living a lie, no matter how cleverly you've convinced yourself otherwise. Taking responsibility for your actions is the antidote to self-deception, but it's no small feat. It's one of the hardest things you'll ever do. Responsibility demands that you confront the truth raw, unfiltered, and often painful. It requires you to acknowledge where you've fallen short, where you've let yourself or others down. And make no mistake, this is uncomfortable. It forces you to stare into the mirror and see not the idealized version of yourself, but the flawed. Yet in that discomfort lies the seed of transformation. Most people avoid responsibility not because they are inherently bad or lazy, but because it's terrifying. To accept responsibility is to admit that your life is, in large part, a product of your own choices. It means you can no longer blame your circumstances, your upbringing, or the actions of others for where you are today. That's a heavy burden to bear, but it's also profoundly liberating. Because if you are responsible for your situation, then you also have the power to change it. Responsibility is the gateway to freedom. But here's the catch: responsibility isn't a one-time act. It's a continuous process, a daily commitment to truth and integrity. It's about staying vigilant against the creeping whispers of self-deception, those little justifications that try to pull you off course. This vigilance requires discipline, and discipline requires strength. And where does that strength come from? It comes from knowing that the right side is worth the struggle. It comes from the deep, unshakable belief that living in alignment with truth is better than the fleeting comfort of a lie. Taking responsibility transforms not just your life, but also the lives of those around you. When you hold yourself accountable, you become a model for others. You show them what it looks like to live with integrity, to confront hard truths and still press forward. And that's what the world desperately needs: people who refuse to hide behind excuses, who take ownership of their actions and who inspire others to do the same. Because the truth is this: you cannot be on the right side without responsibility. And responsibility, though heavy, is the weight that builds your strength, your character, and your capacity to create a meaningful life. The cost of straying from the right side is not always immediately apparent. In fact, the first step away from integrity can often seem harmless, almost insignificant. A small compromise here, a little white lie there, nothing that would draw immediate attention or cause overt damage. It feels almost inconsequential at the time. But here's the truth: the deviations, when repeated, don't stay small. They accumulate, they grow. And over time, they build an insidious momentum that becomes difficult to stop. One lie leads to another. One compromise leads to a greater one. Before long, you're no longer walking the path of integrity. You veered so far off course that you can no longer see the original destination. This is the subtlety of moral erosion. It begins quietly, without fanfare, and often goes unnoticed until it's too late. A tiny crack in the foundation may seem trivial at first, but over time that crack expands. It weakens the entire structure, leaving it vulnerable to collapse. This is how integrity is corroded. It's not usually destroyed in a single act of betrayal or dishonesty. No, it's the accumulation of small, seemingly insignificant choices that ultimately leads to the downfall. Every time you stray, you chip away at your own character, and what was once solid becomes increasingly fragile. Now, you may convince yourself that these small deviations don't matter. You may tell yourself that everyone does it, or that it's only a temporary lapse. But as the great psychologist Carl Jung once said, the most terrifying thing is to accept oneself completely. The truth is that every time you compromise, you are distorting your own self-image. You are telling yourself that integrity is negotiable, that it goes flexible. And once you accept this lie, the foundation of who you are starts to shift. You no longer trust yourself as you once did. And that is the real cost of straying. Straying from the right side doesn't only affect your inner world, it ripples outwards, contaminating your relationships, your work, and your broader life. When you compromise your integrity, you send a message to others that they too can bend the rules. You undermine the trust that is essential to any meaningful relationship. And this is a cost that goes far beyond personal regret. On the people around you begin to see you differently. They start questioning your word, doubting your commitment. Over time, they withdraw. Trust once lost is incredibly hard to regain. And this, my friends, is a tragedy that unfolds slowly but inexorably. Ultimately, the greatest cost of straying is the regret that comes when you realize the damage you've done. The regret isn't just for the things you did wrong, but for the person you become in the process. You lose sight of who you are. You forget the values you once held dear, and you sacrifice your sense of self for the illusion of convenience or success. Now, this is the price of moral compromise, the slow, insidious loss of integrity, and with it, the loss of the very person you once aspired to be. And the regret isn't just for the actions themselves, it's for the erosion of your character, your strength, and your potential. And that, my friends, is a cost far too great to bear. Radical honesty, this is where the journey back to the right side begins. It's a phrase that might sound simple at first, but when you really grasp its meaning, it becomes a call to action that shakes the very foundation of your existence. To be radically honest with yourself means to stop pretending, stop hiding, and stop deceiving both yourself and others. It means peeling back the layers of denial, justification, and rationalize that have clouded your judgment for so long. But make no mistake, this process is not for the faint of heart. It's uncomfortable. It's inconvenient. It will force you to confront parts of yourself that you've long ignored. Yet it is the first and most essential step toward aligning yourself with the truth and the right side. To engage in radical honesty, you must acknowledge your past mistakes, every one of them. Or you can no longer afford to ignore, dismiss, or sugarcoat missteps, the compromises, or the actions that have veered you off course. Each mistake, no matter how small it seemed at the time, has shaped your life in ways you may not fully understand. But in facing these mistakes and shining the light of truth upon them, you free yourself from their grip. You stop living in shadow of what you've done wrong, and instead you take ownership of the she. This is not about self-flagellation or wallowing in guilt. It's about taking responsibility for your past in order to shape a better future. Now, this honesty is also not limited to external actions. It must begin with the internal dialogue. You must be brutally honest with yourself about your motivations, your desires, your fears, and your weaknesses. It is easy to deceive others, but it is far more dangerous to deceive yourself. Self-deception is the foundation of all other deceptions. And until you confront the truth within, you will continue to drift away from the right side. Radical honesty demands that you confront your vulnerabilities, that you ask yourself the difficult questions: why did I make that choice? What motivated me to act in that way? What am I truly afraid of? And perhaps most importantly, what lies have I been telling myself to avoid facing these truths? But why is honesty so powerful? Because it reconnects you with reality. You cannot hope to build a life based on truth if you are not living truthfully. Without honesty, you are adrift in a sea of illusion, a vessel floating without direction, caught in the current of your own self-deception. Honesty, on the other hand, anchors you to the ground. It gives you clarity. It creates a solid foundation upon which you can begin to rebuild your life. Without it, everything else is built on sand. With it, you can face the challenges of life head on, knowing that no matter how difficult the truth may be, it is always better than the alternative. The beauty of radical honesty lies in its transformative power. It is not just about exposing the truth, it is about what that truth allows you to become. When you commit to radical honesty, you start to see yourself for who you truly are, not as you wish to be, not as you pretend to be, but as you actually are. This clarity allows you to make better decisions, to course correct, and to align your actions with your true values. It is through this honesty that you can begin to truly live in the right side, because the right side is built on truth, and as there is stand there is to know it, embrace it, and act upon it. Truth is not merely an abstract ideal or philosophical concept, it is a practical necessity. We often hear the phrase live in truth, but what does that truly mean in the context of our daily lives? To align with the truth is not just to adhere to some lofty moral standard, it's to synchronize your actions, thoughts, and decisions with the reality that surrounds you. Life, in all its complexity, is governed by rules: biological, psychological, social, and to ignore those rules is to invite chaos. Truth isn't something you can easily bend or mold to your convenience. It is at its core what is real, what is unchanging, and what aligns you with the natural order of the world. Only when you accept truth as a foundational principle can you begin to live in harmony with the world as it truly is. When you align with truth, clarity begins to emerge. The world is a noisy, confusing place, and the chaos can be overwhelming. But when you root yourself in the truth, you can cut through that noise. Truth acts as a filter, allowing you to see things as they really are, not as you wish them to be. And in that clarity, you begin to understand yourself and your situation more deeply. You begin to see opportunities you might have missed before, and you start to recognize patterns and solutions that were previously obscured. Truth sharpens your perception, making everything around you more comprehensible, more manageable, and ultimately more navigable. Purpose, too, is born of truth. It is only when you see things clearly, when you understand what is real, that you can define your purpose with precision and conviction. Purpose is not something that can be manufactured out of thin air or imposed upon you by external forces. It emerges from the deepest understanding of who you are, what you stand for, and what you are capable of achieving. And that understanding only comes through the acceptance of truth. Once you are aligned with the truth, your purpose becomes something you can pursue with focus, resilience, and determination. Truth acts as the compass that guides you toward your goals, ensuring that your efforts are not wasted on effort and that do not align with your true self. But the benefits of truth go beyond clarity and purpose. When you live in alignment with truth, opportunities begin to present themselves. Life has a strange way of rewarding those who are truthful with not just internal peace, but external success as well. Opportunities to build relationships, to advance in your career, or to make a meaningful impact in the world all become available when you are willing to face the truth. People respect honesty. They trust those who align their words with their actions. And trust is the currency that opens doors in this world. So when you choose to live truthfully, you open up a realm of possibilities that would otherwise remain closed to you. The practical necessity of truth, however, does not mean it is always easy to live by. Whereas the truth can be inconvenient, uncomfortable, and difficult to accept. It may force you to confront uncomfortable realities about yourself or the world around you. It may require you to make decisions that challenge your comfort zone or your long-held beliefs. But the real question is, what are you willing to lose by living in lies? The cost of avoiding the truth is far greater than the short-term discomfort of facing it. When you choose truth, you are choosing a life that is aligned with reality, which ultimately provides you with a solid foundation on which to build. And from that foundation, everything else in life becomes possible. So ask yourself, are you ready to live in truth, to embrace it fully, and to allow it to guide you toward the right side? It is in doing so, you will unlock a life of clarity, purpose, and endless opportunity. Integrity is not something that exists in isolation, ripples out, touching every aspect of your life and influencing everyone around you. It's easy to think of your actions as personal, just a matter of your own choices and decisions. But the reality is that every time you stand on the right side, you create a ripple effect that extends far beyond yourself. The integrity you embody, the commitment to truth and responsibility you demonstrate, has the power to influence your family, your community, and even society as a whole. It's a powerful truth that many fail to recognize. We are all interconnected, and our individual actions contribute to the collective harm of the world we live in. And to think about the impact of a single individual who refuses to compromise their integrity. That person might be faced with a tough decision, one that could have long-term consequences, and yet they choose to stand firm on the side of truth, no matter how difficult it may be. At the moment, it may seem like a small act. It may not even draw any attention. But what they don't realize is that their action sets such a precedent. It sends a message to everyone around them. Integrity matters. It creates an example that others can follow. That single act of standing on the right side sparks a chain reaction. A wave begins to spread throughout their relationships, their workplace, and even their broader social network. And as more and more people take note of this example, the ripple effect grows. In the context of families, integrity is perhaps the most powerful force for cohesion and stability. When parents, siblings, and loved ones commit to standing on the right side, it creates a strong foundation for the entire family. Integrity builds trust, and trust is the cornerstone of any healthy relationship. It teaches children the importance of honesty, responsibility, and moral clarity. It shows them that integrity is not negotiable. It is the bedrock upon which strong, lasting relationships are built. And the lessons children learn from their parents, mentors, and caregivers stay with them throughout their lives. Integrity passed down from one generation to the next creates families that are not only functional but thriving, with each member knowing the value of standing firm in their commitments no matter the cost. When integrity extends beyond the family unit, it has the power to transform communities. Imagine a community where individuals consistently choose to act with honesty, fairness, and responsibility. When people are willing to stand on the right side, even when it's not popular or easy, it sets a collective standard. The entire community begins to operate from a place of integrity, creating an environment of trust and cooperation. And this puts a resolve not through deceit or manipulation, but through open dialogue and respect. When people see the positive outcomes of living with integrity, they are more likely to adopt these values themselves. And in this way, integrity becomes a self-reinforcing force, elevating the community as a whole and contributing to its overall well-being and success. The ripple effect of integrity doesn't stop at families or communities. It extends to society at large. Societies that operate with integrity are more prosperous and more resilient. Integrity fuels progress by fostering a culture of accountability and transparency. When individuals act with integrity in positions of power, they inspire confidence and trust in the systems they help shape. And this trust is essential for society to function smoothly. Without it, chaos ensues. Without integrity, corruption spreads and individuals lose faith in the systems meant to serve them. But when leaders, influencers, and everyday citizens consistently stand on the right side, they create a society that is grounded in truth, fairness, and mutual respect. And they contribute to a culture of integrity that inspires others to do the same, creating a society that works for everyone, not just a few. Ultimately, the ripple effect of integrity demonstrates a profound truth. Your actions matter. And they matter to the people closest to you, to the community you live in, and to the society you are a part of. Every time you choose to stand on the right side, you influence the world in ways you may never fully comprehend. But know this, your commitment to integrity will inspire others, elevate those around you, and create a lasting impact that extends far beyond your individual existence. The power of integrity is a force that cannot be underestimated, for it is the foundation upon which better families, stronger communities, and more just societies are built. And it all begins with you. Standing on the right side is not always easy. In fact, it often requires a level of courage that many of us struggle to summon. On the right side, the side of truth, integrity, and morality isn't always the path of least resistance. In a world that values conformity and the avoidance of conflict, it can be incredibly difficult to stand firm in your convictions when doing so invites ridicule, rejection, or outright hostility. The fear of being ostracized, of being labeled as different, or of standing alone can be overwhelming. But this, my friends, is where true courage is tested. The courage to do what is right despite the consequences, one of the most important virtues you can cultivate in your life. When you stand on the right side, particularly in times of adversity, you are often met with resistance. People who are comfortable in their own beliefs and actions may see your commitment to truth as a threat. Those who have chosen to compromise, who have chosen convenience over integrity, may see you as a challenge to their worldview. In these moments, the temptation to back down is strong. It would be much easier to silence your conscience and go along with the crowd. Real courage is not about avoiding discomfort. It's about embracing it. It's about doing what you know is right, even when the entire world seems to be against you. It's in those moments of resistance you reveal your true character. The courage required to act on the right side is not just about enduring external opposition. It's also about overcoming the internal struggles that arise when faced with difficult decisions. On the fear of rejection, of being misunderstood, of being criticized, or even punished, these are powerful emotions that can easily cloud your judgment. But courage isn't the absence of fear, it's the willingness to act despite it. When you choose to stand on the right side, you are choosing to align yourself with a deeper truth, one that transcends the temporary discomfort of social disapproval. And this requires a profound inner strength, the strength to face not only external attributes, but also your own doubts and insecurities. It's also important to understand that courage in the face of adversity is not a one-time act. It is a continuous choice. Every day you are faced with opportunities to compromise, to bend to the pressures of the world around you. Every day you must make the choice to remain steadfast, to continue standing on the right side, even when it feels like no one is supporting you. It's easy to be courageous when everyone agrees with you, when your actions are celebrated and supported. But the true test of courage comes when you are standing alone, when you are the only one willing to speak the truth, when you are the one who refuses to conform. In those moments, the commitment to act on the right side, regardless of the consequences, is what will define you. In the long run, however, the courage to stand on the right side is what builds character, reputation, and respect. It is the courage to do the right thing when no one is watching, when no one will reward you, and when there is nothing to gain but the knowledge that you have lived with integrity. It is in these moments of adversity, when the pressure to conform is at its peak, that your true strength is revealed. And though the road may be difficult, though the opposition may be fierce, know this: when you stand on this courage, with courage as your guide, you will find not just the peace of mind that comes from knowing you did what was right, but the admiration and respect of others who in time will recognize your courage and your unwavering commitment to the truth. And resilience is the ability to endure hardship, to face challenges with unwavering determination, and to bounce back from setbacks stronger than before. But how do you build resilience? How do you prepare yourself for the inevitable difficulties that life will throw in my way? The answer lies in consistently choosing what is right. Integrity is the foundation upon which resilience is built. When you make the choice to stand on the right side day in and day out, you are not only reinforcing your character, but also strengthening your ability to withstand adversity. Each small right action you take, each choice to act with honesty and integrity, adds a layer of resilience to your being, preparing you to face larger challenges with confidence and composure. Choosing what is right, especially when it's difficult, is not easy. It often requires self-discipline, sacrifice, and the willingness to confront uncomfortable truths. But the more you practice integrity, the more resilient you become. It's like training a muscle. At first it feels uncomfortable, even painful, but over time you grow stronger. The resilience that you build through integrity doesn't just come from facing large, monumental challenges. It comes from making the right choices in the everyday, mundane situations. It's in those small moments of truth, those minor decisions to uphold your values when no one is watching, that your inner strength grows. You begin to realize that each act of integrity strengthens your resolve, solidifies your sense of self-worth, and prepares you for whatever life throws your way. As you continue to make these choices, you begin to develop an unshakable confidence. You see, confidence is not something that is built by avoiding difficulties or bypassing responsibility. True confidence is earned through the process of consistently doing what is right, even when the odds are stacked against you. When you choose integrity over convenience, when you stand firm in the face of pressure or opposition, you develop a sense of inner security that nothing can shake. This is the kind of confidence that comes from knowing that you are in alignment with your values, and no external force can take that away from you. It's not the kind of confidence that is based on external approval or success. It is the confidence that comes from within, from the knowledge that you are living truthfully and honorably. Resilience, however, is not just about personal strength. It's about how you respond to the world around you. Our life is full of challenges, some small, others monumental. But no matter what life throws at you, your ability to remain steadfast in the face of adversity depends on the character you've built through integrity. It's the difference between crumbling under pressure and standing tall despite it. When you have a strong foundation of integrity, you are less likely to be swayed by fear, doubt, or external negativity. You develop a sense of stability that allows you to face challenges with clarity and resolve. You learn to trust yourself and your ability to navigate life's uncertainties, knowing that you have the strength to persevere no matter what comes your way. Ultimately, the power of resilience built through integrity is that it doesn't just prepare you to handle challenges, it transforms how you approach it. It shifts your mindset from one of fear and avoidance to one of confidence and opportunity. When you know you have the resilience to handle whatever comes your way, you begin to view life's difficulties as opportunities for growth, rather than as insurmountable obstacles. This mindset allows you to face each challenge with optimism and determination, knowing that you are capable of overcoming it. And as you continue to grow stronger, as you continue to choose the right side, you not only build resilience for yourself, but become an example for others to follow, showing them the power of living with integrity and the strength that comes from choosing the right path, no matter how difficult it may seem. The choices you make today are far more significant than you might think. Often we make decisions without fully understanding the long-term consequences, and we fall into the trap of thinking that the impact of our actions is limited to the present moment. But every choice we make, every decision to stand on the right side, ripples out beyond our immediate experience, influencing not just our own lives, but the lives of future generations. We tend to live in the now, reacting to the pressures of the present, but what if I told you that your actions today are building the future? Not just for yourself, but for the world around you, for the children and grandchildren will inherit the consequences of your decisions. Imagine the weight of that responsibility. Every morally sound decision you make today, every choice to act with integrity, will not only your own destiny, but the destinies of those who come after you. You may think that your individual actions don't matter in the grand scheme of this, that they are too small to have any lasting effect. But consider this, our world, our society is built on the cumulative impact of individual choices. Every great achievement, every institution, every system of justice and fairness was built by the choices of people who came before us, people who acted with moral clarity. On the path we walk today is the result of the choices made by previous generations, and the path that future generations will walk will be shaped by the choices we make now. And the truth is, our actions are never confined to a single moment in time. When we make morally sound decisions, when we choose to stand on the right side, we are laying down the foundation for a future that reflects our values. Let these choices become the building blocks of the future, creating a legacy that endures long after we are gone. Whether we realize it or not, we are always shaping the world to come. The consequences of our actions can be seen in the institutions we build, the relationships we foster, and the cultures we create. When we act with integrity, we set an example for future generations, teaching them the value of making morally sound decisions and showing them that the right side is always worth standing on, no matter cost. On the other hand, the failure to make morally sound decisions today can have devastating consequences for the future. Small compromises may seem inconsequential at first, but over time they accumulate, and their effects can spiral into much larger problems. A single lie, moment of dishonesty, an act of selfishness, it may seem minor, but it sets a precedent. And that precedent, when repeated over time, becomes a pattern, a habit that shapes the course of your life and the lives of those around you. When you compromise your integrity, you not only damage your own character, but you also create a world where dishonesty and corruption are normalized, where future generations inherit a broken system. These small, seemingly insignificant choices have a far-reaching impact, and the consequences can last for generations. This is why the importance of making morally sound decisions cannot be overstated. It's not just about you and your immediate circumstances, it's about the world you are creating for those who will come after you. Every time you choose the right side, you are contributing to a future that is grounded in truth, justice, and integrity. And the ripple effect of your choices shapes not only your destiny, but the destiny of the generations that will follow. So ask yourself, what kind of world do you want to create for the future? What kind of legacy do you want to leave behind? The decisions you make today, however small, will echo in the lives of those who come after you. It is in your hands to ensure that the future reflects the values of honesty, responsibility, and moral clarity, for it is the choices we make now that will shape the world for generations to come. When we talk about being on the right side, it's important to understand that this journey is not about achieving perfection. Too often, we get caught up in the idea that living integrity and truth means we have to be flawless, that we have to reach a point where we no longer struggle to make mistakes. But this is a misunderstanding of what it truly means to live on the right side. Perfection is an illusion, a standard that no one can ever fully attain. Life is messy and we are flawed beings. What truly matters is not the pursuit of perfection, but the continuous effort to strive for integrity, truth, and responsibility in every aspect of life. The journey itself, our commitment to continually bettering ourselves, is what defines us, not whether we reach some idealized version of perfection. Let's think about it. If you hold yourself to a standard of perfection, you set yourself up for failure. Or you'll inevitably encounter moments where you fall short, where you make mistakes, where you fail to live up to the ideal. And when that happens, you may feel disheartened, defeated, or tempted to give up entirely. But the truth is, those moments of failure are a natural part of the process. They are opportunities for growth, for learning, and for realigning yourself with your values. Being on the right side is not about being without flaw. It's about recognizing your flaws, acknowledging your mistakes, and choosing to do better the next time. It's a process of continual effort, not a final destination. Each step you take, no matter how imperfect, brings the person you want to be. In this journey, the goal is not to achieve perfection, but to develop a consistent commitment to doing what is right. Integrity is built over time through the accumulation of small, daily choices that reflect your values. It's about choosing to act with honesty, responsibility, and truth, even when it's difficult or uncomfortable. These choices may not always result in immediate success or recognition, but they contribute to development of character. The person you become through these continuous efforts is a person who is grounded in the truth, someone who can be trusted to do what is right regardless of the circumstances. Perfection is not required for this transformation. Dedication to the process is. One of the most powerful aspects of this journey is that it allows for growth. Unlike perfection, which is static and unattainable, the journey is dynamic. As you continue to strive for integrity, truth, and responsibility, you evolve. You become more self-aware, more empathetic, and more resilient. The mistakes you make along the way are not signs of fine opportunities to refine your character, to make adjustments, and to improve. Each time you choose to stay true to your values, even in the face of difficulty, you are strengthening your foundation and becoming a better version of yourself. And this is the essence of the journey, a continual process of striving, learning, and growing. So I encourage you to let go of the idea of perfection and embrace the journey instead. Understand that you will make mistakes, and that is okay. What matters is that you keep moving forward, that you continue to choose the right side, and that you commit to living with integrity even when it's hard. The journey is not about becoming perfect, it's about becoming the kind of person who is capable of standing on the right side day in and day out with courage and conviction. And in doing so, you will find that the journey itself, with all its twists and turns, becomes its own reward. The person you become along the way is far more important than the destination you think you should reach. The pursuit of truth and integrity is the ultimate journey, and it is one worth taking, no matter where it leads. When we talk about the right side, we often think of it as an external place or destination, a set of actions, behaviors, or beliefs that we can adopt and follow. But in reality, the right side is not an external destination. It is an inner journey A path that requires deep self-reflection, awareness, and alignment with our true potential. It is about discovering who we really are and what we are truly capable of. It's easy to get caught up in external markers of success or in the approval of others, but the right side at its core is about aligning your actions with your authentic self, your deepest values, your highest potential, and your purpose in life. It's not about fitting into society's standards or measuring up to someone else's expectations. It's about discovering the path that is uniquely yours and walking it with integrity. To truly understand what it means to be on the right side, you must first embark on the journey of self-discovery. This involves looking inward, confronting your fears and limitations, and examining your values and motivations. It requires a willingness to be honest with yourself, to acknowledge your flaws and shortcomings, and understand your true desires. Too often we live on autopilot, reacting to the world around us without questioning our choices or motivations. But the right side demands more, asks us to dig deep, to question our assumptions, and to strive for a life that is not dictated by external forces, but by a deep understanding of our own potential. And this is where the true work lies, not in what the world expects of us, but in what we are capable of achieving when we align our actions with our truest self. This process of inner discovery is not always easy. It often requires confronting uncomfortable truths, facing the parts of ourselves we'd rather ignore, and accepting the responsibility that comes with self-awareness. And it is also incredibly liberating when you begin to understand yourself at a deeper level, when you realize what truly drives you and what you are capable of. A profound shift occurs. You no longer live in reaction to the world. You begin to live in alignment with your own potential. Your actions become intention, and your life begins to reflect the values and truths that are most important to you. In this sense, being on the right side is not something you do because it is expected of you. It is something you do because it is a natural expression of who you are meant to be. It becomes an embodiment of your highest self, a reflection of your true potential. This inner discovery also aligns us with a greater sense of purpose. When we act in accordance with our tribe in the selves, we taste something much larger than ourselves, a greater purpose that transcends the individual. This purpose is not always clear at first. It may evolve over time, but it provides us with direction and meaning. It becomes a guiding force in our lives, helping us to navigate difficult decisions and to remain on the right side, even when the path is unclear. Purpose is not something that is handed to us. It is something that we discover through deep introspection, trial, and error. But once we have found it, once we align with our true potential, it serves as the compass that guides us toward making the right decisions, standing on the right side, and living a life of integrity. Ultimately, the journey to the right side is a process of continual growth and discovery. It is not something that happens overnight, and it is not something that can be fully attained. Rather, it is an ongoing process of aligning your actions with your deepest values, confronting your fears and limitations, and striving toward the person you are meant to become. It's about realizing that the right side is not a place we reach, but a way of being, a way of living with authenticity, integrity, and purpose. And when you embark on this inner journey, you discover not just your true potential, but the power to shape your life in a way that reflects your highest self. On the right side is not an external destination, but a continuous, evolving journey that unfolds from within. It is a realization that the key to living a meaningful and fulfilling life lies in aligning your actions with the truth of you are. And that, my friends, is where real transformation begins. So where do you stand? Are you willing to rise above the easy path, the compromises, and the falsehoods? Are you willing to face the truth, even when it burns, even when it demands sacrifice? Because that is the essence of being on the right side. It's not about comfort or convenience. It's about courage. It's about strength. And most importantly, it's about meaning. Well, the world doesn't need more people who settle for mediocrity. It needs individuals who are bold enough to stand for what's right, even when the odds are against them. I could be you. Imagine the ripple effect of your actions, your integrity, your determination to live on the right side. And when your time here is done, when you look back on the life you've lived, you'll know, deep in your soul, that you didn't just exist. You mattered. You built something worthwhile, stood tall in the face of chaos, and inspired others to find their strength. Always be on the right side, not because it's easy, but because it's the only path worth taking. And if you dare to take it, you'll not only change your life, you might just change the world.